Okay, hi everyone. This is the meeting for makeup, hair, and wardrobe. And we all pretty much know each other through working for like over 30 years for me. And I know all you guys, I've worked with you. So what we because of COVID, we've been unemployed for 4 months. And although we're all extensively trained in sanitizing and disinfecting our tools on a regular basis, now because of this global pandemic, we're going to have to be more vigilant than we've ever been. And we need to protect ourselves and others from this virus. My first question is has anyone been working on anything? I mean, a commercial, a documentary, a music video, anything at all? Has anybody worked yet?
I'm working.
Who's that?
Barbara.
Okay, Barbara. So what are you working on?
I'm working with the American Federation of Teachers. It's their virtual video convention.
Oh, okay. And so what safety precautions have you been applying as you work?
I go in, I spray my area, my chair, my table with barbicide before I allow my guests to come in. I wear gloves when I do her hair, and I wear a mask and I wear a shield throughout the entire process.
Yes, I think that nothing is official yet, but I'm pretty certain that we're all going to have to wear masks, face shields or goggles. And I just wanted to hear everybody's thoughts on this precaution. I mean, it's going to be challenging for all of us, I believe. But we're going to have to, you know, protect ourselves and others. So what are people's thoughts about, you know, wearing face masks? How is it going to affect us doing our jobs? And just some thoughts from anybody who wants to speak.
I think it's not going to be that big of a problem. I have friends that are hygienists and nurses and wear them all the time and they're fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah. So what do you think about, you know, like background, when we do background, like what are some of our needs? What do you think that we would like to see happening on those areas, those spaces? What would we like? You know, we want our stations 6 feet apart. What else do we need in order for us to come back to work safely? Any thoughts?
I think
you guys are always so talkative. I don't get this.
Hey, Sherry, so I think the reason that everyone is not so talkative is because I think we're all too overwhelmed.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think I found by the webinar from the girls that have gone back in LA that they are overwhelmed and that we need to understand the anxiety that everybody's having. And when they spoke, I felt everything and have already felt everything that they said, but it was so good to see somebody else say it, because we're just going to have to do the best that we can. And we are expecting ADs to be, you know, ADs and production to be compassionate. I don't know if they're going to be or not. So that's an anxiety level on its own.
Absolutely.
So I think that's our biggest fear. We don't know what we're going to do when we go back. And I keep seeing various videos by different makeup artists and hair artists of all the plastic and all the things and this and that. And it seems to me like there's just so much cleaning and so much of that we can no longer. And I even saw something yesterday or something about can't even talk to our actors anymore because that's going to spread it. That just disenchants me of how great our job was and how it's making me feel sad that I can't talk to people and I can't, I don't even know where to go from there. You know what I mean?
I know. Yes.
So that's where probably why no one has any questions, because we haven't actually officially gone back to work like they have.
Yes.
I did do a 1-day job, and it was so everybody started off in the beginning of the day 6 feet apart and all that. By the end, it was all out the window. Things were just going crazy, and it was just like, and then I realized to myself, I have an actor. I had 6 actors, not really actors, just people.
Mm-hmm.
I had a face shield, I have a mask shield, but they're talking at me with no mask on because they're on set. Once they get on set, they take the mask off. But if I found that directors and production was still making me go in just as much as always. And then I'm face to face, constant. So it was a real learning experience for just 1 day. And that 1 day was good to figure out the lay of the land. But it's not where I'm sure that everybody thinks we should be.
Yeah.
And there's my
I
two
appreciate that. Well, thank you, Lori, because, has anybody else been working besides Barbara? No one else. And so we're just sitting, waiting for the call whenever it comes. And we don't really know at this stage, what to expect. I mean, hopefully our stations will be sanitized regularly for us, that they may have like a crew come in and sanitize the trailer for us before we actually move in with any of our tools. And ourselves, we have to, I noticed, I watched this video from a makeup artist in a hairstylist in LA. I think everybody's seen this video. It was on Facebook. And they had the plastic all over their stations, and they had the disinfectants and the sprays and everything laid out. Hardly any tools at all were visible. I think they store them under their station, and they don't take anything out of their bags unless it's going to be on the actor that's sitting in their chair at that time. And then when that actor has left, they sanitize everything they used on that actor and put it away. And then, they're allowed a certain amount of time to do that before they greet another actor in their chair. I think the logistics are going to be very daunting for us in a trailer. Usually, we have all of us in there. It gets crowded. How are we going to ever have more than just a couple of people in our trailer at a time? I mean, I just don't see how we can distance. What do you think, Gina? I know you've got some thoughts.
I don't think we are. I don't think we are going to have a bunch of people in the trailer. It's only going to be who's needs to be working at the time. I'm sure they'll stagger, and they'll be 6 feet apart, but nobody else will be able to be on the trailer.
No, there'll probably be just like one hair, one makeup. And if it's a big trailer, maybe we could have the keys in a separate part of the trailer. But there won't be the back and forth.
They might hang something in between. I don't know. My mom said she was somewhere and they had plastic shower curtains hanging in between. So if you had 6 feet and then you had your area.
Yeah.
A clear.
And I was wondering about hair, blow drying. Will we even be able to blow dry anybody's hair? Because, and then these people who had that video, and it was very informative, and they were saying that the actors come ready already. They come with their hair and makeup already done, and that
Yeah,
they
do touch-ups.
yeah, I mean, that is mind-blowing because we've got, when we do period, and we do a lot of period in this area, I just can't even imagine how we're going to navigate that. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
we have
Sandy, do you have any thoughts on this subject?
I know that I'm not even ready to go back to work. Like,
no.
I've been thinking about it. The last job I came back from, all my stuff is packed in trunks. So just figuring out what I'm going to throw away, what I'll not be able to use again, any weird open containers or things that will just need to be disposed of, how minimal I'll have to minimalize my kit, how many sets of brushes I would need, because like you're saying, like, sometimes you have less than 5 minutes to clean up between people. Well, then you just need a whole new set of everything. And I know that if you're on a show, like they said, you'll get brushes for that actor, you'll have all the makeup for that actor, their bag, I guess, will be cleaned every night, like that kind of thing. I can't even think that far ahead. Like, I don't see working for a year or more. I mean, I just don't see it. And if it does happen, I'll be very selective who I will go and work with, because I don't want to be put in a position that I don't feel safe, or I don't trust the people, or that, the way we're rushed to begin with, it's hard to picture anything happening with any amount of background or anything big. I would imagine it would only be small things with, not a lot of actors, because of just the control issue. So, and it's like, do you get the little oven that sanitizes everything? Like, how far ahead right now do I have to start investing in new equipment, being out of work, and waiting to see how long, that's going to last? So my thoughts are I'm just absorbing information from areas like the girls talked about, in LA. Like, yeah, I would be afraid for my people in my department, because it's one thing that you're careful, but if you do have anybody else, you need to make sure that they're taken care of. So I would say, like, my anxiety level is way up here for something to work.
Yeah. You're not alone, Sandy.
That's all I got to say.
You are not alone.
I can't see it right now. I'm just sort of,
yeah.
What's happening.
Yeah, it's been a shock, this whole thing. And I mean, I don't expect to, I think it's quite possible we won't be working until next year. We don't know how this is going to go. We've got, cases are going up in Maryland and in this area, in Virginia and DC. I mean, if they don't get a handle on it, I just don't know myself when we're going to start working again. It's awful, because we have mortgages to pay or rent, and we have to put food on the table and everything. I know that it is hard to think of going back, but I think one thing is about the question about the tools that we'll be using, and do we need to go out and buy multiples of everything? I mean, as a hairstylist, unless there's going to be a magic machine that just disinfects stuff I use on people immediately, I don't see how it's possible I could ever afford to get 3 or 4 or 5 Mason Pearson brushes to use on actors at this time. I mean, it's crazy. And I know I'm going to be investing some of my own money in PPE, because I want to be prepared in case I go to a production and they're trying to cut corners on that and not giving me what I need to feel protected.
Go ahead, Mia.
Have you
I did do something last week for the first time on a very small scale. It was one-on-one with a client, and we basically kept our distance, wore a mask the whole entire time. And then at the same time, I'm wondering, okay, is she wondering about if I'm sick? If I'm wondering if she's sick? We were in her personal space. I had very high levels of anxiety. I've been quarantining with my parents. My mother's in her mid-70s, so she's concerned for me coming back. So I have all kinds of things that I've been dealing with, and I've just decided that maybe I should just wait a little bit longer to see exactly where this is going to go. But I feel for you all that are doing hair and makeup, because I think you all are, are having it probably worse than wardrobe. So that's been my experience thus far. I want to go back to work. I'm just hoping that everyone, will just be safe and considerate, and, we're just going to have to work together and figure this thing out.
Absolutely. And that's what's nice about us having this meeting now, to kind of talk about some of the challenges that we're going to face going back to work. It's never going to be the same as it used to be.
Hey, hi guys.
Who's that?
Hi, this is Debbie Young.
Hi, Debbie.
Hey, I just jumped on Gazi's real quick.
Oh, good.
But
Debbie.
I just came in and I heard your concerns, Sherri, and Sandy's concerns about equipment and supplies and things like that. And if I were you all, I would not go out and buy a bunch of anything right now. I honestly believe that production might be willing to increase budgets for that sort of thing. So every actor could have their own set of brushes or whatever tools and stuff that you might need. So don't start, just buying up stuff based on what you think it might be. I think we should wait, and I think that's something that you can negotiate in your deal.
Yes, I agree because, well, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't have reserve money right now. As I said on Facebook,
most people
I
don't.
window shop. I put tools in the cart, and then I never buy them. I just have them sitting there, and I look at them occasionally.
It's okay.
And
it's okay. It's always good to move in the direction that you want to go. But
yes.
All I'm saying is not to spend extra resources right now. As you said, a lot of people, our industry have been hit hard, and I really think they're working really hard to work it out. I was in the middle of a show, and and my producers, or HBO, I would say, is still paying for, my apartments, for all of our apartments in Philadelphia, because everybody just got out of town very quickly. So I think that they are working towards trying to do something. I honestly would not really feel comfortable to go back to work until next year sometime, because there's so many mixed messages, and now people are not flattening the curve. It's starting to rise in certain areas. So just don't make any extra expenses for yourself by speculating and saying, well, I'm going to go out and buy this, that, and the other. I think these producers and studios will be willing to foot that cost.
Well, that's good. That's encouraging. No, I just kind of daydream about getting new things.
It's all good. It's all good.
So anyway, let's see. Is there anybody else that has any, we could just talk about our concerns right now. And is there anybody else who would like to talk about how they're feeling since this started?
Sherri, this is Tiffany Lumpkin. Can you hear me?
Hey, Tiffany.
How are you? Hi, everyone.
Great. Good to hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
I wanted to briefly talk about kind of my point of view, similar to everyone else's perspective. I don't plan on going to work anytime soon.
Okay.
So my agenda as of recently is looking for income in other ways, to be completely honest, and kind of finding alternative ways to earn some income has been my main priority. Haven't been thinking hair and makeup because it's just not realistic in the next near future. So I have a few resources that I'd be willing to share with people considering the EDIL. And we could talk about that to go in, some further detail later. But if anyone on this call, most people do, if you have a small business or an LLC, there's a lot of resources out there for us at the moment, up to $10,000 grants. So it's tiny things like that. For me personally, my objective right now is not hair and makeup. My objective is, okay, how am I going to pay these bills? What does the next 6 months look like? Because realistically, I don't see any of us going back to the way it used to be. So right now I'm just thinking of alternatives. That's where my headspace is.
Yes, I understand that, Tiffany. It is really daunting to imagine us going back to work before they have a vaccine to protect us, and I don't relish the idea of going back to work right now. I'm unhappy. I mean, I'm sorry that we can't, but I'm not anxious to jump into it. Although, but we do have to kind of prepare ourselves mentally, and what requirements would we have in order for us to come back? Should we all be tested every day? Should, what can we say to production right now that we need addressed? Has anybody got any thoughts regarding that?
Well, Sherri, so I've spoken to my producers lately. I'm sorry, this is Debbie again.
Yeah.
I've spoken to my producers lately, and I just think it's really, at this moment, nothing you can say, because I think they are really working hard with the studios and the unions to come to some agreement that's going to be safe for everybody. As you know, the actors, the talent cannot wear masks. And, my main concern for everybody is, again, not to be so quick to jump into things based on what you are speculating it might be. Get all the facts first. Don't sign your rights away with waivers, like wavering if you get COVID, that, that you're not going to charge the studios or whatever. I'm just saying, just try not to, go too far ahead, make expense for yourself, and, and which will be obsolete, because the business will not be as it was before, okay? So you have to be very careful, educate yourself on other things. I say stir up your gifts, because we can do more than one thing. If the business is not going to be the way it was before, so you also have to be wary of taking classes to teach you things that may be obsolete. Okay, so perfect example. I had an intro to film class that I've taught over the years. I can't teach that anymore because it's not going to be the same. So you don't want to, waste your money on something that's not going to be useful. That's all. Just wait and get the information and then try to make your decisions from there. In the meantime, like the young lady spoke before, if you can do another thing, start another business, think on those kind of things, but stay positive. Don't think all doom and gloom. And those of you who know me, I don't think like that. I just think it's an opportunity to do something else.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. That's very true. I think that when we get back, there's a lot of things that'll be different. We won't have the crowd scenes. if they do plan, you know, if it turns out that a production opens up in the next month or two, I think it's highly unlikely that we're going to see big crowd scenes. Actually kind of wonder right now, are they just going to like start writing scripts that, you know, people are wearing masks during, you know, pandemic scripts are probably going to come up, you know, because I just, you know, it's just a lot for us all to take in and put our head around. And, you know, for me, I've been working day playing. I was day playing in Pennsylvania on a couple of TV shows and working in the background. And I love to do that. And I just don't see how we'd be able to do our job and be able to protect ourselves and others with a crowd of people surrounding us. I mean, we have to, everybody's got to be spaced apart. I don't know how they're going to transport everybody and keep everybody safe. And then even now, we've always had trouble with, you know, there'll always be some background people that will go in the bathroom and completely change their makeup and their hair. This has happened to us, you know, always. I mean, what if they take their mask off, or, you know, what if, you know, they don't wash their hands or something? And we're the closest to the actors, wardrobe, makeup, and hair. We're right there. We can't stay 6 feet away from them. So, and we just can't also have our trailer open to everybody to walk in, you know. It's going to be a very different world for makeup and hair and wardrobe when we return. I just, you know, it is really daunting. I see Joe. Joe, hi, how are you? Do you have any thoughts, have you know, about how you think that things are going to go as far as makeup, hair, location, and what is going to be for us returning?
As far as locations for makeup, hair, wardrobe, and so forth, catering, we're looking at locations to where we can expand double, if not triple the size of the area that you guys might need. And it's very difficult depending on the location. Stage work is going to be easier to do, but it's going to require putting up tents. The trailers are going to have to be disinfected big time with restricted access. The ADs are no longer going to be able to knock on a door and then open it up and go in. You know, you guys have complete control of it. Background's going to be a nightmare for locations, keeping them all separate. And as far as transportation, we got to find large parking lots close by to where the crew walks in. I've done some preliminary scouting for Walking Dead here in the last month, and these are things that Tom Trigo and I have kept in mind when we're looking at these locations. And I had to knock out a bunch too because of these factors. That's all I've got to say right now. I hope we all go back to work soon, but it's going to be the one thing I'm really worried about are all these independents, these non-union companies screwing up locations. That's my biggest worry, because even in the past, before this COVID, I would show up to a fantastic location and they would be told, nope, don't want you all in here. I've had you all in here before, and I find out it was a non-union show that screwed the location up. So I'm just worried. That's all I've got.
That's good. Thank you, because that's a lot actually, because I was wondering how we were all going to go back to work, what space we were going to have to do our job, you know. It just seems so unbelievable that we're in this position, and I don't nobody really has a concrete answer. That's why, it's been helpful for us to watch that video of that show, that they were actually working, seeing what they're doing to navigate it. But they said that they have all the actors' personal things are put outside of the room that they're working in, and they just have one actor at a time. And the thing is, we're used to it as hair and makeup and wardrobe of being rushed, to get our job done quickly because camera's waiting, and production doesn't want us to run into overtime, and we're just always rushed. So there's got to be a change in the way that production looks at our department, and we need to get the time that we're going to need under these circumstances to get people ready. We're going to need more time. It can't be a rush.
If I can add, I've been attending a lot of DGA webinars and listening to the ADs that have worked on shows dealing with this COVID, and they realize how much time it's going to take for somebody going through makeup, not just hair, might be an hour. So they're going to have to add maybe an hour and a half for somebody being in a chair. The ADs realize this. The producers realize this. These are with the big shows. It can no longer be a hurry up type thing.
No.
And then the other thing I'm doing to educate myself in the locations world and as an AD is I'm taking a lot of these COVID classes. I just got the certification for the Johns Hopkins contact tracer. That was very helpful. So I'm doing these things not only to protect myself, but protect everybody.
Yes, that's wonderful. I heard about that Hopkins thing. It's really great. I took a couple of classes. I got certified from Safe Set International, and I recommend everybody to take one of those courses in the barbicide and get certification if you can. I mean, it's just really, really informative, and it's best that knowledge is power. The more we know, the more we'll be able to handle this, and we should all be as educated as we can on this subject of COVID, because lives are at stake. This isn't something that we can take lightly by any means. Hey, Brooke, have you got anything? I know you're kind of dramatically backlit, but do you have any words or any thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Not really. I mean, I'm just listening to I'm just listening to everybody else's concerns, and I have a huge concern with the environment right now. I'm worried about all this plastic and all of these masks and things. That's a concern for me too, on top of the normal, right? Like the normal COVID concerns is the increase in plastic. So I'm working on finding biodegradable shields, which I found, and biodegradable gloves, which I found, and biodegradable masks. So that's kind of my, it's kind of what I'm.
That's impressive.
Concerned. So
now, I followed, you put something on Facebook about disposable capes.
Yeah.
So I did order those.
Yeah.
I did order some of those, and they arrived recently. I haven't opened the box yet because I'm scared to open it. I don't want to touch anything.
Right. And I know these are things that production can buy if if the price is not too high than what the non-biodegradable cost will be. But
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, if you feel strongly about the environment like I do and you do and other people do, that we might want to go ahead and get some PPE ourselves. I mean, you know, and maybe production will reimburse us for that or whatever they work out between our unions and the producers as far as that goes. Okay, well, let's see. Does anybody have anything they want to bring up? Any subject or anything? Any thoughts, ideas? Help me out here.
Hi, guys.
Who's that?
Caprice.
Hi, Caprice.
I had to jump onto another thing. So how's it going?
It's going good. I think we're talking about how daunting and about the prospect of going back to work is, and our safety, and where a lot of us are anxious about it.
Yeah.
You know, rightly so. I mean, nobody knows what to expect. We're all afraid. I mean, I stay in most of the time. I'm cooking my own meals. I've turned into a farmer. I'm growing vegetables. You know, I just, you know, it's a whole nother world. And we are so used to being like our film family, and you know, we were very close knit, and it was like, I remember the days when we would hug each other when we saw each other, and that's not going to happen anymore. It's very daunting.
I know, it's hard for us huggers.
Yes. And we won't even be able to see each other smile at each other, you know? That too. I mean, we'll have to smile with our eyes.
I have a mask with a big yellow smiley face.
Oh. Yeah, I remember one time we had to wear one of those N95 masks because there were hazardous fumes on set. And I remember I drew a happy smile on mine, and everybody laughed. But you know, I wouldn't laugh if somebody did that, because you know, it's like we're all blank staring at each other with these masks on. But yeah. But we're all kind of not, we're not as talkative of a group as we have been when we get together. I think everybody's just really, you know, thoughtful about this whole thing. We just don't know what to say or what to expect.
Yeah.
There's really not anything to say. We don't have jobs and we don't know anything. It's all speculation at this point.
Yeah. That's true.
We're living in uncertainty.
Unless somebody here's been on a job and wants to talk about it, I don't really see.
Yeah, is there anybody else that has worked?
I'm going to base it off the two girls that we just saw at the webinar. Was everybody there on the webinar? Because they were very inspirational.
Yes, let's talk about that.
They said everything I was feeling about going on a job, and some of the notes that I took from them. Was everybody there? Or was not everybody there? I mean, I know Caprice and Eric was, okay.
And I was there.
Okay. Well, maybe to reiterate, we don't need to be easy going into this. Don't think we're not going to get a job and we're afraid to speak up. Don't just take a job that's unsafe and just do it. I think that's ridiculous. I think amateur makeup artists and people coming out of a department store calling themselves makeup artists, what's going to happen if they're out there working and the crew comes from their job to our job, they're going to bring it to us. Okay? So we have to be very diligent in understanding what's happening out there. And I think going through all of this process of learning, which I've done OSHA 10, I've done the COVID thing, I'm doing this. Everything we can do while we're not doing anything is the best education for us. So when we get back to work, we need to start thinking about referring our fellow sisters and brothers, because they're probably going through the same trainings we are, where these amateur people are not. And they're going to be in the same boats we are, as far as non-union is going to cross into union, and they're not going to know what they're supposed to be doing. So I'm very, very passionate about, you know, hiring union people, of course. I mean, of course. But now more so than ever, we need to train ourselves. And yes, it's overwhelming. Those two young ladies that spoke from LA they had all the anxiety that we have probably felt, and maybe not yet felt because we haven't been to work yet. But it's everything we're thinking. It's everything we're thinking. We want to do the best, most perfect job that we can.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I found them and selected them. And a lot of my questions were about emotions. How were you feeling? What were your expectations? So that interview was more about, you know, our cores and how we're feeling and not so much details. So that's why I wanted to very much bring those kinds of things into the light as opposed to tips and tricks.
Right. And I felt like they touched on, and they were very, you know, it wasn't MLA. They were very good at speaking how they're feeling, and, you know, without throwing anyone under the bus or because we never want to do that as a crew member. But they were very good at expressing everything that I was feeling, and we haven't gone back to work, but that was the fears. And I mean, my husband says the same thing, because he's had to work through all this, but he's not in the business. He's like, you just go and do the best that you can with the knowledge that you have. I guess it's like becoming a mother or father or whatever. You don't know. You just go do the best that you can and hope for the best. But they were very, very good, Caprice. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, I thought they were super too.
Yes.
And
yes.
I would just, you know, again, when you're talking about just trying to get as much information, that was the whole purpose of the webinars. So I encourage anybody that hasn't seen all 6 that they're on DC Camera's YouTube channel, and to please review. The first one, we talked about coming together as a community during this pandemic, and it's not just union and non-union.
Right.
The union people could be doing bad practices too. It's all about practices and protocols. The second one was about disinfection and the health safety supervisor role. And then, you know, we hit a lot of other stuff. They're all titled. So I encourage people to review them if they haven't seen them.
Well, that's kind of why I brought up the union, non-union thing, is because we could be on a union job for 2 days and then end up with some non-union people the end of the week, or, you know, within the 2 weeks or something.
Or another union job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With people that have come from, that was the point that kind of really hit home, is it's not just going to be about that job. It's going to be about all the jobs that come within the next 2 weeks of that, you know what I mean? But that's kind of what I meant. I didn't try to make it one or the other. I'm just saying it's.
And if I was a producer, and they usually vet our jobs and they're hiring their crews by our talent. But if I was a producer right now, I would be asking questions. Not only am I calling them, find out what their availability is, I would be like, so what have you been up to? And if I call Sherri, she's going to say, you know what, I've been here in Annapolis, I'm gardening, I've made so much, you know, zucchini bread or whatever. And then the next person was like, well, I was at Sunset Cove Saturday night, had a great time. I would be hiring Sherri.
Exactly. Day drinking at the pool. Just kidding. I'm just kidding, everybody.
No, you're not.
Whatever.
I mean, I think there should be some kind of vetting on producers or coordinators as they're hiring too.
Absolutely. Agreed. I agree. And I appreciate you. I don't know who got it all together, but you or whatever. It was really great this morning for the the 1031. It was great.
Yeah, I'm glad that one was the last one. I felt like it just got wrapped up. Everything got wrapped up in a nice bow.
Hi, this is Gazi. I just wanted to say something really quickly about the vetting process as far as producers possibly.
Sure.
Of course. Hi.
Hi, everybody. So, I just feel like, even with the vetting, because like even earlier with the webinar, even a COVID test aren't really up to date here in the state of Maryland. We can't get one the same day and then shoot the same day. So, it's like the vetting thing I do understand, but at the same time, even the test itself isn't a pure tangible vetting tool either. So it's just one of those things that, like everyone's been saying, we're just speculating. And it's just, I just don't want it to be like a case where everyone's like, hey, no, she said she was going this place, but this person isn't going here. So I just don't think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I get that. Did you guys see that I posted the video on the Surviving the Delmarva Facebook page? The one I found through Sherri from the other to that whole department out in Los Angeles that was working, that did that video of how they prepared their stations and what they were doing. Oh my God, that was awesome. So if you guys haven't seen that, they did a terrific job. Now, Sherri, how do you know that one woman that did that video?
You mean Geraldine?
Yes, Geraldine.
I friended her on Facebook when I saw that video. I said, hey, I want to know her. She's very impressive. And
they knocked it out of the park.
Actually, she's also the head hairstylist for The Voice. And I don't know whether that was The Voice set, but she just got nominated, I think, for an Emmy, her department. So
I mean,
she's very, an impressive and knowledgeable person. And so that's how I knew her.
I saw it. You had posted it, and I saw it. And
yeah.
So if anybody hasn't seen it, go to Sherri's Facebook page because she posted it too. But very impressive as to how the department set up all of their hair and makeup wardrobe stations, how they were sanitizing, putting it in clean bins, having dirty bins, and covering everything. I love that they just got barber jackets just to put on top of their clothing. I mean, how cute.
Yeah.
Bandanas are in their head. I mean, they looked adorable too while they were doing it.
I think that's definitely a possibility too, to have your own barber jacket to wear over your clothes, because, and leave it at the set and sanitize it at the set and don't take it home. And then when you go home, you're not bringing whatever could be out there in the air, home with you. I mean, yeah, that's a way of protecting yourself, and that's why they're doing it. And also like the fact that they said they had those masks, they're N95 mask and goggles, but it gets tiring wearing a mask all the time. But then also they have to be outside of the trailer or that set where they were. They have to go outside. If they have to go outside, they put one of those surgical masks over their N95 mask. So I guess that's the extra protection from whatever is out there in the atmosphere outside, so that their N95 stays, pure or sanitized.
Yeah. Or just keep switching them
Or,
out.
or just, yeah.
Yeah, I was told that production should really have like 3 masks per person. If they're providing, they should have, because it gets wet, it gets tiring, you want to switch it out, you need a clean one after lunch, whatever, you should be switching.
Yeah. For me, it gets sweaty,
sweaty.
And with the heat and the humid, this is like the really awful part, is that here we are in the summertime with this thing, with all the heat and humidity. That's awful, downright awful to be working in anyway in this area.
I have a big topic.
Okay,
and,
good.
And some breaking news, if you guys hadn't heard. As a location manager, and of course the things that keep me up at night, or the things that I've been thinking through the last couple months, is the motorhome. You know, I mean, that can't be the way that it was. I mean, nothing is the way that it used to be any longer, but like talking about a concern because we were all piling in there, productions in there. It was our bathroom facility most of the time. You guys are doing your hair, makeup, and wardrobe and sharing that space. I mean, it was already ridiculous to begin with, how crowded it was and dirty and sanitized and everything. And I did hear that Lee Carrick did retire. So I heard that just recently.
Oh.
So, you know, for us in production and locations, you know, we will not have that facility, which, you know, we've used a million times. So like, who's going to pick up that? Or, you know, again, we're just making concessions coming up to like, we would never have to utilize that motorhome like we used to any longer. So the motorhome is a huge concern, and that should be spotless and sanitized and disinfected all the time. So if you guys do go out on jobs, in addition to everything else, especially if you're working in there, you should be like going, okay, who's motorhome and what are they doing to disinfect? I did call John, what's John's last name? The other motorhome.
O'Brien?
No. The other motorhome out of Delaware. I can't think of his last name. It's losing me. Anyway, I was just helping people because I did so much study on disinfection. So he bought a fogger and disinfecting. So his motorhome, he has it. He's doing it right. So
is that the one with the bathroom in the middle of the motorhome?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, he has two motorhomes. John Seifert.
The bathrooms are horrible on the motorhomes. Very often the makeup station is right there when the door comes. It's hideous.
It's disgusting.
And there are chemicals in that water, so it's not really safe washing your hands in those chemicals.
I mean, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I honestly, from here on out, like, I think that the motorhome bathroom should not be used. We're going to have a restroom trailer.
Just wear diapers. Everybody just wear diapers. Never have to use the bathroom. It's a done deal. Just get production to pay for Lynn or who's on here, Lynn or Denise, buy us diapers, and we're good to go. Half of us are going to be needing them soon anyway, so it's.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys are working in there, honestly, it should just be you guys. Production should be.
That's what I was going to say.
Under a tent. Also, too, you got to make sure the ventilation. I'm just giving you my tips and everything that I've learned too. I mean, I know we love the air conditioning and everything, but ventilation, windows, doors, all that should be open. You need.
Yeah, that's a good idea. But I've also heard that people are using HEPA filters or want to use HEPA filters. Maybe that's just an inside thing, no?
Keep the ventilation, keep that air
ventilation better.
Thing, yeah. And also too, if you can work outside, like, I mean, our guests this morning, those lovely ladies, they live in a beautiful climate that's 75 degrees and sunny all the time. You know, I mean, we're working in this heat. We're working in, like, I'm just very concerned how this is all going to play out for the jobs during the colder months. You know, but if you can set up and you can put your chair outside, the best thing to do is to be outside whenever possible. Just set up outside.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just want to say one more thing. I just want everyone to stay positive. And, you know, and Sherri, you know, I love you to pieces. And don't keep saying this is daunting, because it's kind of like you're making the outlook for yourself more daunting. Look at what the possibilities are. You know,
yes, I agree. I'm just saying,
I don't want you to speak lax.
It is.
Don't speak. It's like the thing is all of us are in the same boat.
Yes.
And that, you know, we're not working and doing what we love. What I'm saying is try to use every moment to think of something else that you can do. Think of something else that you can learn. You know, stir up your gifts. I believe that you change your thoughts, you change your world. You know, I would not be able to survive if I was doom and gloom every day. I just would not be able to. So I'm just trying to use every moment to take every class that I can take, to learn what I can learn, to help somebody else. You know, I just don't want you to think that it's hopeless, because it keeps you in a hopeless place. That's all.
Yeah.
And I just love y'all.
Yeah. Love
Thank
you.
you, Deb.
Well, we love you too, Debbie, and you know what? I'm normally very upbeat, but we've been talking about this for almost an hour now about how none of us are working and we want to work, and we really can't say for sure what we're going to face when we go back. But when I'm not, you know, when we're not discussing this, I do keep myself as upbeat as I possibly can and think positively. But we're on the subject of what we're on, so
I
you
know,
know.
I know. And just know that right now that things are still being worked out. Like some of the things that I think that you're concerned about, big studios are going to take care of it. Now, smaller vendors may not. You know, they may not have the means to. So you have to have extra protection in those areas. And again, I say, not sign away your rights.
Right. I think everybody knows we shouldn't be signing any waivers, but again, we are living in uncertainty and in our lives and in our work lives. And like I said, this morning, some are struggling more than others, and we need to, be passionate.
We
and
are.
for
We
them.
are.
Yeah, I'm just saying some people are just struggling more than others, and that's
absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that. But what I'm saying is that
have a positive
as talented, I just don't ever want to look at things as being hopeless. As talented as I know, I've known Sherri for years, as talented as I know she is, I'm saying that I want her to maybe think of some other possibilities. So, because I don't want her to feel hopeless.
Yeah, no.
Debbie, I assure you, I'm not feeling hopeless.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Really. We're on this topic, and it is, we are talking about our anxiety. That's part of what we're talking about here today. Mm-hmm. But I assure you that I am positive.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Here's the silver lining. The way that we used to work is no longer. The way that we were working was no longer sustainable with everything. No time, no money, high expectations. So we're scaling it back. We're being more safe. Like somebody else said in another webinar, geez, we're getting hygiene is now like forefront. I mean, like, of course, especially in your world, it always should have been. But, we were working with people with colds and everything like that, and that's not going to happen. So let's hope that the changes that are coming will help us all in the future. And we're an innovative group, and I have no doubt that we will get through it because we're talented, flexible, we pivot. And that's why we are in this industry and why we love this industry as much as we do.
That's right.
Sherri, can I say one more thing? It's Tiffany Lumpkin. To Caprice and Debbie's point, I think so many of us for so many years have worked ungodly hours, and we have to use this time as a gift because time is the only thing that most of us have never had. And using this opportunity in these circumstances, I've never had more time in my life. And I couldn't even imagine a time where I've had a moment to sit back and reflect and kind of go back to the drawing board, like Debbie said, stir up the gifts. I've gotten more accomplished in the last 6 months than I have in the last 6 years. And a lot of us have not had the gift of time for so long because just even our family and our friends and all the sacrifices that we've made. I personally, it took me a while, but I look at this time as a gift and like a moment to really sit back and reflect like about the stuff that really matters. Not to be all kumbaya, but you all get it. I think we're going to look back and be like, wow, remember back in 2020 when we had all that time? We're never going to get this again. So I think just encouraging everyone to use it and take advantage of it.
Well, I think that's a beautiful way to end this, our kumbaya
yes.
togetherness. I think that's lovely, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe.
Hope to see you soon.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.